What is happening, chat? We are live today, finally, later than I normally plan, but showing up is what matters. That's what I've been telling myself lately. Beforehand, I would have said, you're late. You might as well just cut your losses, save it for next week. But we're here right now, and I'm very, very happy to be here. I don't look like as much of a rat's nest as I initially thought I was going to. So appreciate everyone who's going to tune in today. The plan. Oh, my phone's over there. That's okay. I can get it later. The plan for today is I want to tell a story that I have struggled to tell for a long time. I haven't been quite sure how to articulate it. It's probably the most interesting thing that has ever happened to me in my life. But as such, I've just kind of never felt comfortable talking about it. And there were things that happened on that experience that I was like, whoa, I'm one of the few people who know this. So, it's just it's a tough experience. But before we get into that, I just want to talk about how things are going right now. So we've been streaming a lot of, we were streaming a lot of Backrooms, liminal space content, things like that. The plan is I will do some more Escape the Backrooms coming up here soon. But in the meantime, I've really been enjoying Helldivers. I've been playing a lot of Redacted Regiment, a little bit to a fault. I was playing to the point where I didn't even, how would you even say? Like, there's nothing else for me to unlock. Well, actually, there are other war bonds for me to unlock, but I don't really care about them. There may be one or two items in each of those that I actually care to get. But now that I have the stealth war bond, I feel so seen. Just feel so connected to that. And so everything just feels like a bonus at this point. And I've been playing the game so much recently that it's gotten to a point where I just will pick an old loadout set that from like one of the older war bonds and just grind through that as much as possible to see if I can make the experience new and novel again. But I'm curious at hearing what games some people have been playing. I'm kind of tempted right now to start off with, hey, what's up, Maverick? Good to see you. Before I get into story time, I'm debating if I want to start off with words on stream. Or maybe I just tell the story while we play words on stream. I don't know. We'll see. Let me refresh this page. How is your day going, Maverick? It's so great to see you. Just making sure that this is all up and running. Awesome. I'm just checking this. Me too, man. Yeah. I don't know about you, Maverick. My sleep has just been abysmal. It's not been good. Mainly because I've been playing Helldivers, but just worse than usual. Staying up and playing all the time. Bro, I feel it. Also, have you been playing Escape the Backrooms recently? I was thinking about getting on today on stream, but I'm curious what you've been up to, what you've been doing. I will say on the bright side, though, the weather here in Los Santos has been quite pleasant, quite nice, not too cold, which, if you know me, chat, I cannot stand the cold. I'm just constantly freezing. Yesterday, when I made my bed, I was so out of it that I forgot one of the blankets. All right. So one of the blankets that goes between the sheet and the comforter. And so I told myself, I just picked up the blanket, wrapped it around me, and then crawled into bed like pre-cocooned, if that makes sense. Oh, dang, Jaskel's still not working. You know what I think it is? I think he needs to be recharged on his account needs to be topped off. So let me just disable that for now so he doesn't annoy us with no data. Me too, since Ramadan started. Today I slept afternoon until the sun set. Oh, sounds like you had a pretty substantial nap then. I see. Now, for Ramadan, how long are you supposed to fast for, Maverick? I don't recall. I'm not quite familiar. Fasting, that's one of those things that I sometimes will do unintentionally just because I get so locked into my work. But, you know, I've heard it's quite good for you. Almost 12 hours. Ah, okay. Yeah, that's a long time. But you're able to drink water, yes? Are there any exceptions to the fasting rule as far as fluids or substances or anything? I don't think I've intentionally done a fast in a long time. Actually, there was a point a couple weeks ago. I can't believe it's been a couple weeks where I was trying to get up early, and one of the bits of advice I heard was not eating 4 hours before bed. It's usually like 3 to 4 is what you hear. And so I tried doing that. I had a huge lunch around noon, 1 p.m., and then I just didn't eat the rest of the day. And man, I was so hungry, I couldn't take it. No food, no water, no bad. Oh, nothing. Wow. So there are no exceptions. Copy that. No bad deeds either. Man, that has to take a tremendous amount of discipline to follow through on. I hope it's going well for you. Yeah, that the no food thing, like I was saying, is really difficult. I think what I was trying to do was, so like I have a real hard time with going to bed early. And so what I did was, sorry, my brain is just not braining right now, as you can tell. I was struggling with going to bed early. So I told myself, okay, you need to have everything set up throughout the day in order to accomplish this. About the back room, something wrong? It's some sort of mouse drifting. Did you face something like that before? Mouse drifting? No, I haven't encountered that. Then again, I haven't played since you and I last played, so I'm not 100% certain on what that is. Look, Maverick, you can do me a huge solid right now. I don't know who is tuned in at the moment. I challenged myself to tell this story today. And if it's just you and me, if you would be happy to hear out my my little tale, I'd like to share it with you. It's a story about how I was in Brazil working on a movie, and it kind of changed everything for me. And I was working there with a famous actor. But I've had a hard time telling the story. And I'm glad you're here. I'm glad there's someone in chat because I wanted to talk about it. But I'm also happy to talk about backroom stuff too. For some reason, it occurs in this game only. I have had this issue before where the mouse will drift. Typically in some older games that I try to play, you know what the biggest issue I run into, Maverick? Freaking resolution problems. Oh my God. So sorry, I don't mean to get on another side tangent again. For the sake of nostalgia, I tried downloading Far Cry 3. Okay. So an amazing game back from 2012, I think is when it came out. So I wanted to relive some of that feeling. Well, I launched the game and it launches in windowed mode, which I'm like, okay, fine, whatever, no big deal. And then every time I try to switch it to full screen mode, it'll stay until I alt tab. Like, really, man? In 2012, the game can't stay in full screen. That was just so frustrating. So you know what I ended up doing? I just returned the game. I didn't even want to play it anymore. The inconvenience beat out the nostalgia. And you may call me petty for it. The game was only $5 on sale. That's part of the reason why I got it. But I was like, I'm not dealing with this. I just need the game to work. Yeah, some games are real finicky, Maverick. I don't know why things like that aren't optimized. But, you know, that may end up changing because with the expense of PC hardware nowadays, I think developers may need to start optimizing games because players aren't going to be able to buy the latest and greatest things to run them. You know, you have to reduce the resolution to 900 by 800, I guess. Huh. The thing I hate about the series is the gun jamming. Wait, which game has gun jamming? Are you talking about Far Cry? Red Alert 2. Oh my gosh. You just triggered a memory for me. I have not played Red Alert 2, but I did see the trailers for it all the time because I played a game called Emperor Battle for Dune. Are you familiar with this game, Maverick? This was something I played all the time back in the day. I remember I got it at Costco. Man, 2 really iconic games I got at Costco with my dad. Emperor and Mass Effect, the first one, the original. Man, that was an experience. Oh, and this was back when I only played real-time strategy games. I hadn't gotten into first-person shooters or anything like that. I mean, this was the late 90s, so the only thing I played on our family computer, and then eventually I got an original Xbox. Old game. Yes, I am an old gamer, Maverick. I sure am. I hope the scruff isn't giving me away too much. But yeah, I played. Tell me if you remember these. When I was a little kid, I played Spy Fox and Freddy Fish. Oh my gosh, those were the games. I remember the very first Freddy Fish. I actually slept with it under my pillow, like the disc case and everything, because I told myself no matter where I went in life, I wanted to have that with me. I always wanted to have that game and that CD with me. Oh, how simple times were back then. And those games were pretty good. I mean, I'll be completely honest. I got the entire Spy Fox series now on my Steam account because I enjoyed them so much. And crazy enough that I have to say this, they are surprisingly well optimized. I mean, it's a point and click game. How can you really screw that up? But they work. They work out of the box. You don't have to go through, do any tweaks or anything like that, which is pretty nice. But maybe I played older games like Wolfenstein 3D or Rescue Rover 1 and 2. I have not played those games. I have played Wolfenstein, The New Order, and no, not The New Order. Is it The New Order or Colossus? I get confused. I think it's The New Order. And I've also played Escape from Castle Wolfenstein. But Rescue Rover 1 and 2, I'm not familiar with. Give me 1 sec, Maverick. I'm just going to walk over and grab my phone. Keep chatting. I'm enjoying this hanging out. So yes. Return to Castle Wolfenstein. Not Escape. It's the opposite. You're going the other way. Return to Castle Wolfenstein. And that game, I didn't get it necessarily because I'm a huge Wolfenstein fan per se. I mean, I really love The New Order. And I never played Return to Castle Wolfenstein back when it came out. I just loved it because of the sort of like esoteric nature of it. All of the magical elements I thought were super interesting. Um, so like that. I played almost I'm guessing you meant all. Okay, yeah, all Wolfenstein games. So you can say I'm a Wolf fan. Nice, nice. Yeah, I mean it's a great series. It's a really interesting take on alternative history. I think. I mean, albeit it's terrifying, but it is very, and the gameplay is good too for a single player first person shooter. I feel like it's on par with BioShock. Then again, Wolfenstein actually helped build the first person shooter genre. It was based on Doom when it first came out, if I'm not mistaken, right? So, man, I love shooters so much. I'm trying to think, what was the first one that I played? I guess you could technically say Tomb Raider, but Tomb Raider, that's more of a puzzle game. And the controls for that game are incredibly hard to use. I've since gotten a little better at it now. I have the remastered version on Epic Games, but technically that was a shooter, right? Even though it auto locked on to the enemies. But I'm trying to think of another one. Hi, Zosie. How's it going? Good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so happy to see you. I was just going to tell a story, the story of what it was like to go to Brazil. Maverick and I are reminiscing about old games that we enjoyed. Which reminds me, what was I saying, Maverick? The first person shooter I ever played, I want to say Call of Duty. No, it had to be before that. Let's think of the original Xbox. I didn't get Halo at first because my parents thought it was too violent. I played Jet Set Radio Future first. Are you familiar with that game? And then when it came to shooters, I didn't play the original Call of Duty, but I remember Call of Duty Big Red 1. And something about that perspective, the immersion, the aiming down sights, like it just got me hooked. And that feeling of being accurate is something that I just love. It's part of the reason I think I enjoy paintball so much later in life. Is just the feeling of being accurate is just, oh, it's amazing. It's so satisfying. Wolf is older than Doom? Oh, I don't know my gaming history clearly. Wolfenstein 3D issued in 1992. Doom was the year after. I see. Wow. I wasn't even born yet, man. That's crazy. Anyways, so on to the story itself. Forgive me, chat. I may totally butcher this. I am doing a podcast episode with Obi-Wan at some point, and he specifically wants me to tell my story about Brazil. I've been putting it off for the longest time because it has been such a huge moment in my life that I'm afraid of saying it wrong. I know that's a weird thing to say because it was my experience, but it's just like, I don't want to screw that up. I feel like it's one of the most interesting things that's ever happened to me. I've had a lot of things, and I can't remember all of them just because my brain is scrambled eggs, but I've had some interesting things happen. But this one stands out above all of them. So I want to tell you guys about my first experience working on a movie because it completely changed my life. It's part of the reason why I'm here today and the direction I wanted to take myself in. And Zosie knows a little bit about this. In fact, I wouldn't know her if it weren't for this movie experience, indirectly. So yeah, it has had a tremendous effect on my life. So this all started when I graduated college, okay? This was a very challenging time for me in my life. My dad passed away 2 days before I graduated college. The day after my ceremony was his funeral. So I had a lot of mixed feelings of success, feelings of immense pain. My dad He was not the first major loss I experienced in my life, but you only get one mom and dad, so it's one of the worst. So that was really hard. I had lost my grandmother who lived with us a few years prior. And I mean, everyone has a different relationship with pets, but I lost two of my pets that I had since I was in elementary school the same year that I lost my dad, kind of in the same weeks, same months. So it was an incredibly hard year, but something about that experience fueled me to want to push myself, to go out and see what I could accomplish. I think my desire was that I wanted to sound totally cheesy, achieve my destiny. I wanted to become rich and famous as an actor so I could take care of my mom. My mom has been a tremendous support in my life since forever. And I wanted to pay her back for that. So I thought, what am I good at? What do I think I could do? What do I have the confidence for? And that is being in the limelight, as it were, being a performer. How's it going, Zaddy? Good to see you. So I told myself I was going to do it. I was going to make it, and at whatever cost, I was going to try to make it in Hollywood. So you know what I did? I just hit the pavement and I started auditioning. I auditioned for about a year and a half with very little success. I'd do a music video here, a short film there. Actually, very little success. Let me emphasize the success part. The very first audition I ever booked was for my friend Ben. Ben is a musician. He runs Gutter Compound, and I still talk to him to this day. He still invites me to do photo shoots with him to this day. So I am very appreciative of that. But like I said, nothing was really registering. Nothing was picking up for me until one day. I haven't shaved, will shave live on stream today. If only I had the setup. I could actually do that. I could tell this story while I'm shaving, but I'd lose my train of thought. So we'll save that for another time, Dilf Zaddy. Let me write that down actually, so I don't forget, because I really like that idea. We're going to call this shaving live stream. And this is perfect because I can still use OBS. So let's bookmark that for now. But anyways, back to the story. So I did all these auditions. Nothing seemed to connect until I went on this one specific audition, which ironically enough was not an audition at all. I literally sat down in a studio, Zosie's dad's studio, no less, and I met with this producer. Okay. And I was going in fully expecting I had to perform something off the cuff. I was given no preparation beforehand. In fact, the only thing it said on the acting notice was that they needed someone to do stunts. All right. So I was like, cool, I can go in, do a few flips. It's filming at some mansion. Not a big deal. Right. And Zaddy, you'll appreciate this because a video I posted that went viral last year, that was actually partially your idea. And it happens in this story, which is kind of insane. So I go to this audition. Producer seems chill. Ted, Zosie's dad, he's pretty chill. And the producer just asking me like, well, what do you do? What are you interested in? I was like, I don't know. I'm trying to be an actor. I've worked on small projects here and there. I just so happened to, like 3 months before, finish my own music video that I was working on. It was a dark trap music video that we shot in different parts of LA. I showed this to him and he was just, I don't know how to describe it, just instantly hooked. Like he was so invested in this video that I made. He was like, okay, awesome. You're booked. You're going to do the music video. I was like, great, cool. I mean, I was still kind of like, I didn't know what was going on, but I was happy that I had work and it was paid. It was one of the few paid gigs that I got. Well, fast forward to the music video, and I'm fully expecting we're just going to do stunts, right? Like nothing too crazy, no big deal. And then he pulls me aside and he's like, all right, Alex, so I actually was thinking everyone is wearing all black in this shoot, you know, stuff that they brought, but I have a specific outfit that I want you to wear. It's like, okay, that's cool. That's a little odd, but all right. What's up, CJ? How's it going? Yes, Rome is the place of the streamer. That's your intro now? Awesome. Awesome. Just for context, for anyone who's joining right now, I'm telling the story of the one time that I worked on a movie and how insane it was. So, hey, what's up, Glory? How are you? Glory, I want to shout you out for your really, really incredible comment that you left on my last video. I really appreciate you sharing your story there. And Glory, it has partially inspired me to do this live stream that I'm doing right now, which is kind of scary for me. Okay? Since everyone's joining right now, I'm just going to do a very quick recap. I went to Brazil to work on a movie with I worked with Danny Trejo. Okay, some of you may know who he is. He's a famous actor in the 90s and early 2000s, and it is the craziest experience I've had in my life. So crazy that I have never told it publicly, really. I've told bits and pieces of it, but never actually sat down and given it the attention that it deserves. So, quick recap. I graduated college. My dad passed away 2 days before I graduated, and his funeral was right after. Very hard time. I told myself, I'm going to go do auditions. I'm going to work my butt off so I can make it as an actor in LA. I audition, nothing seems to work out. Eventually, I book this music video. And now I'm actually telling that part of the story where we're at the shoot for the music video. Okay. So the producer pulls me aside and says, hey, you know you're supposed to do stunts for this, but I actually have something else in mind for you. And he gives me these outfit options. And I pick this like black leather vest. I'm like, this looks cool. And there are some goggles and stuff. So some random odds and ends. It looks like a Fallout character. Okay. Just kind of strange. And he's like, yeah, that looks good. So what you're going to do is you're going to enter the scene. And my character is going to be all in his feels. He's going to be having a hard time. And you're just going to come and like, hype me up. You got to get me out of my head. I'm like, okay, cool. I can do this. If no one, you have oh, thank you. I appreciate that, CJ. The beard kind of helps. Don't let Zosie hear you. She's going to be like, oh my God. So, okay. Anyways, on with the story. So he starts having me do all of these things in the production that I was not initially anticipating. Like, how do I describe it? He was asking me to be a primary character in the shoot as opposed to background like I initially thought, where I'd be in an insert here and there doing something cool like a flip. Now I was actually engaged in the story of the music video, so to speak. Excuse me. Now this continues throughout the day and I'm having a lot of fun and I'm feeling really confident, right? I'm feeling more and more excited because I'm getting a bigger part in this project. Maybe this will lead to something. And then this part just completely threw me for a loop. We take a break for lunch or dinner or whatever. Oh, real quick side note. This was the first day I ever met Zosie's dad. All right. Let me just tell you. He was shooting the music video. And the second I saw him, I was intimidated. I was like, oh, this is a real filmmaker right here. Like this guy, he's scaring me. And I remember I walked up and I said something to him. I don't remember. I was just trying to make conversation or joking. And he gave me this stare like, I'm so sorry for being dumb and existing in your presence. He didn't say anything mean to me, but just the look he gave me was like, oh my God, I am so unworthy to be here right now. Which, I mean, that's just my own insecurity. I just thought that moment was funny. Anywho, we take a break for lunch, dinner, whatever. And the producer comes back and he tells me this. He hands me a sheet of paper and he says, these are the lyrics to the song. I would really like you to sing them with me. Basically lip sync, because I didn't know the song, right? I just showed up that day. I didn't know anything about the artist, the production, or anything. And I was like, what is going on here? I'm not a musician. I don't know how to sing. I mean, I kind of know how to sing, like in the shower. I did ensemble musical theater. But now he wants me to stand next to him in front of the camera and lip sync lyrics. Now, I will tell you, the lyrics didn't make the final cut of the video. And if I find the link for the video, I will send it to you guys. It was on YouTube for a long time. And then this artist, their channel's now defunct. The videos aren't there anymore. But Zosie's dad has a copy of it. I'm pretty sure I have it saved on my drive somewhere. And I think there might be a Vimeo link to it. So if I find that, I will send it to you. Just in case anyone thought, okay, this story is bogus. It's not. This happened. Some parts I wish did not happen. But anyways, I'm now lip syncing lyrics for this video. And I just don't know what to make of the experience afterwards. We wrapped the project. It's a great shoot. And I go find the producer afterwards because this is something you're supposed to do in a job or any industry, especially in acting, is you thank the person that hired you in hopes that they remember you and you get to work with them again. Oh, I was terrified, Glory. Oh, petrified of Zosie's dad. No idea. Just imagine if okay, think of a famous movie director like Christopher Nolan or someone. Just imagine if you were next to them and they were making a film and you had to do something. And they're just looking at you like, okay, come on. I'm like, I'm just a normal person. Because, I had this naive perception in my head that like people in film, they're these magical beings and they have, they're able to do these crazy things. It's how I loved movies so much is because I thought, this is going to sound really dumb. Part of the reason I wanted to be an actor is because like I saw Star Wars as a kid and I thought, I want to go there. I want to go to those make-believe places. How do they get there? Well, they're movie sets. They're actually locations around the world you can go to. I'm like, oh, of course they are. I thought if I got in a Star Wars film, I'd get to hold a real lightsaber. Like the concept of VFX had not registered with my brain. Anyways, I'm going to drop that because. So I go and I thank the producer. I'm like, this was, I'm really grateful for this experience. Thank you for giving me such a huge part in your video. And it's just like I can't make this up, guys. It's the classic movie scene of he's standing on a hill overlooking the night lights of the city. He pulls out a cigarette, smokes it, and he says to me without looking, he's like, what are you trying to do? I don't remember what my answer was. Something just like, I want to be successful. I want to act. He's like, okay. Well, yeah, man, it's tough out here. I'm kind of paraphrasing. I think I was just so kind of enamored to be in that situation. It was kind of a non-answer that he gave me. And we parted ways. And I don't remember how much time passed exactly. But he then reached out to me. Was it via email or text? I don't know. But he reaches out to me and he says, hey, I want to meet you for coffee on Thursday at 11. I remember it was in the morning. He's like, can you do that? And I said, yeah, I'll be there. Like, okay, I have a project idea in mind. I'd love to pick your brain about it. I remember that part specifically. He's like, I want to pick your brain about it. I'm like, he wants the opinion of the stunt guy? This is where this is the foreshadowing. Things start to get really weird. But I was like, okay, you know what? You can't pass this up. Sorry, I will take a break to read chat. Want some honey buns? Oh, I definitely would like some honey buns. That sounds delicious to me. Okay. So where were we? Yes, he asks me to go to this meeting with him. And I'm like, I don't know what is happening. What's going on at this meeting? He wants my suggestion. And I'll summarize it for you because, to be honest, the meeting itself was not very interesting. Okay. He explained to me I'm not exaggerating, an hour about this new technology that he wanted to use in building a studio. He wanted to create a studio where he could rent it out and basically make money for film productions, whatever. And he was explaining the technology behind it. You guys, I have no idea what he was saying. I haven't the slightest clue. Have you ever had that experience in your life where you're like, something is important, but you don't want to look dumb. So you sit there, you make eye contact and you're like, oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. I totally could see that. And you're just like, every response you give is kind of this semi-validation just to keep the conversation going so you can get to the part where you actually understand what's being said. So I did that for an hour. Well, turns out at the end of that hour, he says to me, so I was thinking about positions, and how you'd be a good fit for this undertaking I want to do. And I wanted to get your thoughts. How would you feel about being Chief Creative Officer? Say what? That's not the CEO, but it's 3 letters. That's like chat. It was 24. Was I 24? It was in my early 20s. I was like, cool. I can't describe this feeling between pure elation, excitement, like your life is about to change in an incredible way. And you can't help but think this person must have really poor judgment to somehow think that I'm qualified to do this job. I did backflips in a backyard for a few hours. But what am I going to do? I've been struggling for 2 years to finally get my big break. Am I going to say no? No. So I'm like, that sounds great to me. And I specifically remember this chat. I was so overwhelmed. As soon as I left the meeting, I went to go get gas. I dropped the nozzle on the ground. Like I tried to duck under it instead of going around the car. I was just so overwhelmed. I knocked out the nozzle. And then after I finished putting in gas, I got on the phone and backed up into another car in the gas station. And the guy who I backed up into, he was like mildly annoyed that I did so. And I was still on the phone talking to him. I looked at him like, oh, I'm so sorry, man. And he's like, you good? I'm like, does this everything look okay? I looked at his car, was fine. The back of my car is fine. I'm like, oh, if my car's messed up, it's not a big deal. I don't care right now. I just don't care. He just went on his business. I got back in the car like nothing had happened. And I'll tell you that stuff like this normally I get super anxious about. But there were so many other things going on. I was like, whatever. And the call, the call was basically like preliminary tasks I had to do. So I realized we're 40 minutes into this. I haven't even gotten to Brazil yet. Let me speed this up because these parts aren't that interesting, okay? It turns out that this producer guy, he's a little interesting character. Okay. He started having me do all this busy work. At the time, I don't know if you guys remember, in 2019, there were the fires happening in LA. There were other fires happening, and I guess he had some storage in that area, and he was concerned that they were intentional, like it had been started from a lab or it burned a lab or something. And he had me researching Geiger counters. You guys know what Geiger counters are? Those things that like make the ticking sound in Fallout. He had me looking those up. And so I spent all this time. I'm like, oh my God, this is my job. I have to find. I was looking at all these Geiger counters and making a sheet. I'm like, what's the cost? What are the benefits? All these things. And I sent it to him after a couple days, and he goes, huh, I bet none of these are legit anyway. I'm just like, what have I gotten myself into? That was one of several things. There was another time where I told him I really needed a computer for my work, right? Like not this, not a setup like this. I need a laptop. I need a Mac, because everyone was using Apple products, and it was just very easy for me to get my work done with documents and things like that using a Mac. So I told him, like, I kind of need this. You know, I don't have something to do this work on the go. So he gets me the Mac, and when I get the receipt for the Mac, it's like a completely different name. This guy has a different name on the receipt. I'm like, what? Am I working for some kind of like foreign agent? So anyways, we'll get past the busy work part. We're doing all these things. Also, by the way, I'm teaching part-time. I'm teaching at the school still, doing parkour. So that's happening. And I just feel like I'm caught between these two worlds. I go to my normal job that I really enjoy, and I work with the kids, and that's fun. And then I'm just in this weird alternate dimension. And we haven't gotten to that part. At some point, I step through the alternate dimension completely, and it's just pure insanity. So what does he have me do next? At some point, you know, we have little meetings here and there. Like we go out to dinner, we talk about film ideas and things like that. And he hints to me throughout these, he really wants to make his big magnum opus in Brazil. I'm like, oh wow, that's really ambitious. That's super cool. Not thinking like that's going to happen. Like that's something in the future. But at some point, we go to work on another music video just for fun. And this is actually at Zosie's dad's studio this time. So he's filming the whole thing. The producer and I we're actually singing the lyrics. Oh, hang on. That just reminded me. I forgot a complete so random. One day he says to me, hey, let's meet up. Let's hang out. I'm like, okay. Gives me no context. Sends me the address. It's some guy's apartment. Like, all right. Man, I did not look out for myself back then. I was just showing up to these places. Anyways, I go to the address. I park on the street. He's outside. He's like, hey, how's it going, man? Good to see you. And his friend comes out from the apartment. He's like, what's up? Nice to meet you. He has an accent. I don't remember where he's from. Like Eastern European or something. But his friend comes out, and I meet him. And he's like, come on in, guys. So we walk upstairs to his apartment. And it looks normal at first in the apartment. And then we go to this other room, which would normally be like a bedroom. And it is just the most decked out sound studio, or like recording studio, where you basically how influencers nowadays record themselves and they have these setups and things. He had the full deal, like 5.1 surround sound speakers. He had the booth. It's kind of a booth. It was just like a shroud over the microphone and lots of equipment laying around. I'm like, oh, wow, this is legit. So then my friend hands me more sheets with lyrics. I'm like, bro, can you at least give me some heads up for this? He's like, oh, you're going to be fine, man. You got this. So that day, I record my lyrics for our next music video. And I'm telling you right now, chat, I hope you never find it. I hope you never watch it. It's the one and only time you'll ever hear me singing, like professionally singing. No. Zoe loves it. She loves it every time. And she sings the lyrics too, and it pisses me off. It doesn't piss me off. I like pretending to be mad about it. And so I go into the studio and we record lyrics, and yeah, it's a fun experience, but I'm like, bro, I'm just so out of my element. It's kind of frustrating, honestly. Because I don't know, I just want some notice I want things to feel semi-normal, right? And this is kind of speaking to the bigger picture of the film industry in general. This was the rude awakening that I was in for. So more time passes and we shoot that music video, and I may be getting some things mixed up, like overlapping time frames here. But at some point he says, we're pulling the trigger on Brazil. We're making a movie. We need to prep. I was like, okay, what do you need me to do? He's like, well, we need Danny Trejo. I want him to be in the movie. Can you get a hold of him? I'm like, huh? How am I supposed to get a hold of Danny Trejo? Whatever. I go online. I find his agency. I reach out to them. I say, hey, we're working on a project. Thankfully, the producer, he gives me the details I need to say over the phone because he's used to having these sorts of conversations with people. And I call the agency and I'm like, hey, can we schedule a meeting? Like, we're really interested in having Trejo in our film. And he says, yeah, we can schedule it for whenever. And I went to that meeting with the producer. I don't know why I'm not saying his name. I just feel bad because he's like he's like the main character of this story, kind of. I'm like the narrator who observed everything. So, I don't want to he was one of the greatest guy ever, but also I have a soft spot in my heart for him. So I'm just going to keep saying the producer. Please bear with me for doing that. And so I go to this meeting with the agent, for Danny's agent, and her entire office. Look, okay, you know how some people are huge fans of something like Star Wars? Or, oh, take care, CJ. Appreciate you coming through. You saw, oh my God, there's no way. How did you find it? There's no way you saw the music video. Also, I'm sorry for not reading chat. I'm just like getting so absorbed into trying to tell this. Anywho. Oh, okay. If you saw it, CJ, if you're still here, then you have to tell me what the name of it is, huh? What's the name of the music video or the artist? If you tell me the name of the artist, I'll still be impressed. Where was I? So, yes, I go to the meeting and her entire office is decked out in Danny Trejo memorabilia. You're on the TV. Oh, awesome. I'm so glad, Panda. Okay. All right. I'm about to get to the good part of the story, guys. It's just going to go off the rails from here. It was already feeling like it was going off the rails, but it just gets worse. All right. So I think, I don't know if her room is like this all the time, her office, but it was like this when we showed up. It had LED signs, it had statues, it had awards, it had everything to do with Danny Trejo. And I don't know if this was some kind of leveraging tactic to show, like, look, my client is a big deal. If you want him, you're going to have to pay for him. I'll tell you right now, I have never met a human being in my life that I am more terrified of than Gloria. That was her name. It was Gloria. Oh my gosh. She was in, like, you know, when people don't mince words. That if I had walked into that room by myself, I would have been shredded alive, quite literally. Thankfully, the producer was just as, like, he had a way with words, man. A way with words. I don't know how to describe it. Okay. This is going to sound odd, but this is the best example I can give you. You guys know how, like, Donald Trump will just say things and people are like, yeah, I guess. Like, he'll just say whatever. And people are like, okay. It was that same kind of effect, but more eloquent, like more articulate, more like, okay, you ever listen to early interviews of Elon Musk? Just take those two people and combine them minus the like crazy government activity. And that's kind of what you had. And a lot more low key and sort of like toned down. That was where the energy was. And just, he would say something just so outlandish, but you'd be like, oh yeah, I guess you're right. I don't know how to describe it. I think some people are just born with that skill or whatever. So he goes into this meeting and he books Danny Trejo. Like, I just witnessed this. It was like watching two Pacific Rim characters fight. And I'm just like one of the soldiers on the side, like watching. He's got a bazooka and like fires the bazooka and it just kind of like bounces off the shoulder. That's what it felt like being in that room. So that gets taken care of. Now there's a lot of prep we got to do beforehand. You remember when I mentioned the Geiger counters earlier? Well, it was time to do more spreadsheets. I was looking at every camera I could find. He asked me, he's like, what are all of our options? And you remember the Geiger counter story? Yeah. Well, that spreadsheet after it got sent was like, we're not going to use any of these. That's my mom's name. Oh, wow. Your mom is a very, very tough woman, Glory. I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm sure she is in real life too, but sorry, it's my terrible humor. So I send over that spreadsheet. Does that get used? No. But the cameras get taken care of, whatever. And at this point, I'm feeling a little kind of helpless because I just feel so out of my league, out of my element, like lacking in so much knowledge that no matter what I do to try to contribute, it feels like it's just a footnote in whatever's happening. I was like, whatever, this is part of the learning experience, right? I'm fortunate to be in this position in my early 20s, and we're just going to keep chugging along. So also, there's a lot happening that I'm not explaining. I was in a relationship. Well, I went through that really awful dating story at the music video. That was that viral video I talked about last year. I also was in a serious relationship at this time that was like, oh my God, that was a whole explosion. Everything that is going on in this time frame is just, you couldn't make one cohesive video about it and have it all make sense unless I like got some kind of screenwriter to figure out the insertion of the A-B plot and all that stuff. I'm just don't have the qualifications to explain all of this. I'm just going to stick to Brazil for now. But anyways, just keep in mind that's happening off to the side. So eventually it's like, okay, we're going to Brazil. And the producer, a month before, goes radio silent. I'm like, what are you doing? You told me to do all of these things. Everyone is asking, and by everyone I mean like other crew who have been like assigned to help with the shoot. They have all these requests. Like, we need to prepare if we're going to go to another country to shoot a movie. And it just doesn't respond. Now, he explains later that the reason he didn't respond was because he was training. He was training for his role in the movie, like doing some Navy SEAL type stuff or whatever, which turns out not to be true at all. And maybe I'll get to that point later, but it's just one of the kind of major disappointments that happens. Like, that's not happening at all. So finally the day comes, like, we're going to go to Brazil. We're going to start shooting. I don't feel like we're prepared, but my flight is booked and I'm going. So it's January, early January. And I go on the, 14, 15 hour flight. By the way, Chad, I didn't mention this earlier. When I got hired for this job, that to this day, I have not had a job that paid me that well and also paid me poorly at the same time. I'll explain that later. Please don't let me forget. So I was just in this weird headspace where I'm like, oh my God, I could maybe be set for life. It's not like I was getting huge lump sums up front, but it was more than someone my age would get at an entry-level job. I'll just say that. So I'm going to Brazil, and we get there, and I meet the director for the movie, okay? I've had a tiny bit of contact with the director over the phone, planning things out, things like that, but I haven't met him in person. And I'm told that he has this resume. He's done all of these incredible projects. I'm super excited. I'm like, oh my God, this is just another connection for me to meet as an actor. We go to have lunch in the lobby of the hotel I'm staying at. It's myself, the director, Zosie's dad, and because Zosie's dad has actually already been there for a couple weeks at this point. And it is the most student filmy interaction I ever have. The director does not know what we're doing. And I'm like, oh no, this does not look good. Like, this is the beginning of the end. This is the person who doesn't know what's going on. He just seemed kind of like phoned in. I don't know how to describe it, but just not engaged with anything. And directors typically, they have a strong opinion on the vision for the project, like you would expect. Just like no clue. And so I'm feeling kind of concerned at this point. I'm in this foreign country. I don't know what's going on. I don't feel prepared for the shoot. I don't think he knows. And also, to give you a clearer picture on my role, I was an associate producer for the movie, but I was also acting in it as well. So I was given the script before I went to Brazil, read through the entire thing with rose tinted glasses because I was in it. Script is okay. You know, it's like imagine Rambo with a smaller budget. That's kind of what the movie was. And I was a supporting character in it. But anyways, this meeting is not going well. I feel like all the performances I was ever in, nobody ever knew what was going on. You know, Glory, now that I'm not so naive, I realize it's not just acting or film or whatever. Everything. No one knows what the hell they're doing. And at the time I was like, oh, they have it. People in Hollywood, they have it all figured out. Like, I just so clueless. So, and Brazil was a rude awakening for this too. Like, I thought, oh, well, it's just this one-off experience. You know, if you go to work on a Marvel movie, they know what they're doing. I have a friend who works in post for Marvel. He's like, no one knows what they're doing. So go figure. I appreciate you sharing that, by the way. So we get there, and I think 2 days pass, right? I'm just there doing nothing, like sightseeing, hanging out with Ted, talking to the director here and there. And I think I met the producer one time, and he sends a message to us and he goes, hey guys, we had a development. The people that I hired, the local crew, they are trying to scam me. They're not interested in putting together what I want. So we're going to need to postpone. So I flew to Brazil for a week to essentially just hang out, which, hey, I'm not complaining about that, but it did leave me feeling really concerned. I hung out there for a week and did essentially nothing, and then flew all the way back home. For the next month and a half, radio silence. I don't know if it was depression or worry or failure or whatever. I was like, I was almost had it. I went to Brazil, and then nothing was, they don't want me anymore. He thinks I'm not pulling my weight. I'm not good for the project. He's done with me. So I'm just kind of like randomly, I'll reach out. I'm like, hey, hope everything is well, whatever. I think it's early March. I get a message. Hey, we're ready. We're going to shoot now. You're all going back to Brazil. Actually, I don't know if Zosie's dad was still there the entire time, or if he came home and then flew back. But they're like, who's they? The producer's like, you're coming back. We're ready. I'm like, oh, okay, we're doing this. Let's go. So I got my stuff again, went on my next a 14-hour flight and went back to Brazil. I forgot to mention that because I was the one who initiated the whole hiring for Danny Trejo, I was also in charge of the signatory work for the for union actors. Basically, they need to meet certain requirements for union artists in order for them to work. You know, there's certain turnaround times. They have to sign off on a sheet. I don't remember what it's called exactly, and I also had to make sure that he was taken care of. He had late check-in. He had a car, everything. This was the single most stressful part of the project, and honestly, the most stressful 5 days of my entire life. Because again, remember, her agent is Gloria. His agent is Gloria. And I am deathly afraid of this woman. And he's bringing his personal assistant, who is also, she's a tough lady. And Danny is a tough guy too. So very, very stressful. But we set up for the first day of shooting. We're in this ecological reserve. And it's in a native village. And the native village looks incredible. They've got all these huts. And they have all these extras with the garb, and they have like face and body paint and all these things. I'm like, oh wow, this is a legit production. And then you go inside the hut that we're supposed to film in, and there's nothing in there. There's zero props. So you know what the producer suggests? He's like, everyone go back to base camp, start finding things to put in here. I'm like, okay, for sure. And that's how I knew this was all going to go. This was all going to go south. There was a moment I'll never forget on the first day where the director was yelling. He's like, we need this person in the front of the camera. We need this person in the frame. I don't know who it was. It's like one of the native villagers. It's like, go and get them. The person was literally standing in their spot like if he looked at the viewfinder on the monitor, he would have seen them. That person standing there. By the next day, I don't know if it was the second or the third day, we were at breakfast and the producer told me he needs to go. You're going to fire that guy. Like, I'm going to what? I'm going to fire the director. How are we going to make the movie if we fire the director? So I sat down at breakfast with the director and with Zosie's dad. I told Zosie's dad what happened, what the producer asked me to do. And I'm very fortunate he was there because I did not have to do it. It was very awkward, but also I could tell the director was relieved. He was relieved that he did not have to work on this anymore because I could tell it was really stressing him out and he just was not cut out for, not interested. And I don't necessarily blame him because there was a lot of unanswered questions that I had the entire time. So that happened. And then, I mean, look, there are a lot. This is the part where I really struggled to tell the story because I was there for a month and every day was just a black hole. So there's a lot of things that I'm missing and I'm forgetting. So I will just kind of blurt out the things that stand out. First off, we barely made our days. Like we were always behind because we were using a Jeep. And the Jeep required the actress. I completely forgot to mention how she got there as well. I booked her too. It required her to know how to use a stick shift. I will say her name though, because she's super cool. Okay. Gloria Vatsis. She was on a show called White Collar years ago. I actually got lunch with her after Brazil because she's just one of my favorite people. And We were doing like all of these things. We were trying to shoot with the Jeep, and Zosie's dad, Ted, was just like, it was so, he was doing his best. And the crew were pretty good, but you also had the language barrier between English and Portuguese because it was almost all, I mean, it was all Portuguese crew. And then Ted was shooting it. So that took a lot of time. And then one of the things that stood out is there was an explosion on set. Like, oh my God. So if someone had been in that, like, there would have been a fatality on our hands if someone had been in that when this happened. Everyone's name is Gloria. I am not joking. Yes, Gloria Vatsis, Gloria the agent, and then Gloria I'm just kidding. The personal assistant's name was not Gloria. But yeah, there were 2 Glorias. Were there any Glorias in the local crew? No, I don't think so. We had a Lara. She was very nice. She did costumes. Lara was in charge of costumes. So we had an explosion. It was actually Gloria's shot. She's getting out of the Jeep, and the shot looked amazing. We had a crane and everything, and the sun was coming down, and it like comes out as she's like getting out of the Jeep to look at the village. And just when we were about to, like move on to the next thing, one of the huts exploded. The stunt team had rigged the huts to explode because there's a scene in the film where the village gets attacked, right? And so we were prepping for that shot later. Well, one of the explosives detonated prematurely. Thankfully, no one was in the hut when it happened. It was the main hut, and it caught fire. Okay? We're in an ecological reserve shooting this movie. Sorry, I'm getting kind of angry talking about this because it just seems so irresponsible. And this hut is now on fire, and the producer's like, roll the camera. It's like, roll the camera. Like, we're like, go over there, film it. And I was certain we were going to get kicked out. I was convinced that this was not going to, we were going to get shut down. If it were California, oh my God, I couldn't even imagine. Have my mom's Gloriana. I've never heard a name like that. That is so unique, Glory. I love that. That's really cool. Yes, it was supposed to be a controlled explosion, but it was not. It was not controlled. And my favorite part about this, Glory, the stunt team did not have fire extinguishers. They didn't have any equipment to put it out. So people started using chainsaws. We were right next to this huge, beautiful lake, and they were trying to take buckets of water and splash it onto the burning hut. And they were using chainsaws to cut it down so it wouldn't touch the foliage. But I was saying, I thought we were going to get shut down. We let the owner know. We were kind of like, sorry, we almost set your reserve on fire. And he was like, you keep shooting tomorrow. It's okay. Nothing caught on fire. I almost wish he had shut us down. And the thing that really kind of saved us was the fact that in Brazil, it's very wet and humid. So things don't catch as easily. California is very dry. Everything is basically tinder for a fire. And so we moved. Sorry, I'm getting kind of fatigued telling the story now. So we moved on from that, and there were a lot of little things that happened here and there. I don't remember all of them. We went to this amazing, gosh, what was it? It was like a Brazilian Hogwarts. It was this huge place. It looks like a level from Tomb Raider. It was all abandoned. I have great footage of it. I can put it in the Discord. It was one of my favorite spots I've ever been to in my whole life. It's kind of like Hearst Castle, but the derelict version. And there was a huge flood. It started raining so hard, it was flooding. And then we were leaving, and the water was like up to like halfway up the car, maybe a little lower than that. and there was a tree that fell in the road. So the driver had to get out and move the tree. And we had Gloria in the car with us, and she was like, oh my God, we're going to die. And we were stuck in a tunnel for a few hours. It's just one thing after another. We were in a dojo. No, it was a gym, and it was supposed to look like a dojo. So we spent the whole day decorating it and then shot like 2 things. And the actor didn't want to do a backflip. They asked me to do the backflip. I said, I am not doing that. Like, I'll do a backflip myself, but you are not strapping me into that thing and having me do a backflip. I don't remember what else happened. There were other things. There was a lot. There was drama. There was like people almost left one day, and Zosie's dad had to convince them to stay. Like, he basically gave an Avengers level speech and convinced everyone to stay, which I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this. And the producer, he kind of was in the background a lot of the times, despite the fact that he was the main character in the film. He was in the background. By the way, my scenes never got shot. There was one scene that I was supposed to do at that location, the Hogwarts looking location, but I ended up going into the script myself and saying X, Y, and Z are not going to get done in the amount of time that we have this crew. So I actually cut my own scene for the sake of the movie, which I don't know if that's a good thing or maybe I'd like to think that moment spoke to my character, as despite the fact that I really wanted this so badly, I actually removed myself from the thing I wanted for the sake of the movie, which didn't end up mattering because the movie didn't get done anyway. So the one time I could have shot, I didn't shoot. And then all the other scenes that I was supposed to be in, which there was like an apartment scene where I make an omelet. I remember I was like in the kitchen learning how to make an omelet so I could get it perfect for the scene. And then there was an action scene. We were actually going to shoot that in the desert in LA, but we just never got to that part. And that was it, man. Like, there was legit 2 weeks where we did nothing at the end either. The crew's contracts elapsed. And it was really sad too, because I met some amazing people on that set who I still have on Instagram to this day. Like, just incredible human beings. Very, like, just so hardworking, so enthusiastic. The vibe in Brazil was so much different to here in a lot of ways, right? Like, I don't know. You feel kind of like a kid when you're around the Brazilian crew, because they're having fun. Maybe to a fault at times, but things are so serious here. You know what I mean? Anyways, their contracts elapsed. Danny was only there for 5 days. I didn't talk very much about him. I need to tell another story. I had dinner with the guy. Yeah, I'm just all over the place. I'm going to retell this story because there's a lot. I just needed to get it off my chest because I've been really bad about. If you guys have questions. Yes, it was crazy. It sounds like I'm making all of this up. When I hear myself say it, I feel like it's all such nonsense. But the way I remind myself, the way I pinch myself, is the fact that I know Zosie, the fact that her dad knows the story better than I do, and I know all the people who I met in Brazil. And you can find the IMDb page. I'm probably still on there with Danny Trejo. So let me just try to wrap this up. Yeah, the movie didn't pan out. It didn't get finished. And what I learned from this is exactly what you said earlier, Glory. It's the fact that no one has it figured out. And I kind of had a crisis because I really wanted to be an actor and I had a perception of what it was going to be. I thought I had made it. I worked really hard after my dad died, and it just kind of blew up in my face. At least that's how I saw it. You know, there's always like a positive way you can spin it, but I'll be very blunt about what I experienced. The girl I was seeing at the time, there were days where I just would not talk to her because I was so like I was a mess. I was a real mess because my worldview had been flipped upside down. And I was like, I'm not going back to auditioning again. Like, I'm going back to square one again. And I know people who are famous, they're successful, they always audition. That never changes. I just thought something would get a little easier, and it didn't. And then COVID happened. I went through a horrible, horrible breakup. The breakup was so bad that it gave me the same sort of fuel that I had when my dad passed away. The same energy I had to audition and even go to Brazil. I then used that to make an episode. I started streaming on Twitch. And I was like, look, this is in my control. Everything that you guys see on this frame here is in my control. I don't have to worry about crazy producers. I don't have to worry about going to another country. I don't have to do any of that. If I fail as a broadcaster, as a YouTuber, as any of these things, that's on me. Whereas all that other stuff, it's just like, bro, I'm in a tornado right now. And it was too much. And this got me started on the whole 5 a.m. thing. And I was going through this phase where I was all into the self-help and, acting like like Navy SEAL habits and all these sorts of things. And thankfully, I've sort of tempered that down. But oh man, that was a whole thing. And I so here's my plan, Glory. I think what I'm going to do is actually sit down and make a video. I have a real hard time saying all these things live on stream. And the reason I'm addressing you personally is because I know you and Zozie and Panda will go and watch the videos on my other channel. And just when I can sit down and say things that just come out normal. But, if you enjoy the off the cuff stories like this, I really appreciate you listening, because I almost didn't do this today. I'm like, this is just too much. I'm looking at my last bullet point. I had 5 bullet points, and I'm like, everything else you just got to figure out. You got to remember. Yeah. The long and short of it is I'm here today because of that, because I realized my passion is not necessarily like being glamorous. That was nice in my late teens, early 20s. I had that sort of perception of, I want to be famous. Really, what I love more than anything is, it's funny, Zozie's dad has said this. Ted has said this. It's one of my closest friends in the world, by the way. He told me, film is the perfect marriage between art and science. And I'm a nerd. I love gaming. I love cameras. I love bit rate. I love audio levels, all these sorts of things. And the fact that I can combine that with having the ability to either share an emotion or tell a story, get to a point, all these sorts of things, they just make me feel like I'm getting better as a human being. Like I'm developing skills that push me. So, yeah. That's a good quote. Sometimes when it rains, it pours. Most definitely. More stories, all the stories. I'll be honest, Panda, I don't know if I have anything that tops that. I need ChatGPT to give me a list of 10 things and be like, did this happen in your life? Did this happen in your life? And I'm like, oh yeah, I think that did. It just like monkey brain. Oh man. What are we at? 1 hour and 19 minutes. I was going to game, but I think this was your alert. You won't even need to lurk count, because I think I'm going to call it here. It's 5:19, way later than I normally start going live. I did what I set out to do. mostly, which was to tell that story. Actually, you know what? You guys want to play words on stream? We can do that. Also, good to see you, Count. Thanks for coming through. You could talk about your birthday trip with mom and the old people cruise again. Yeah, I'm trying to think what was crazy that happened. There are stories there. They're not as clickbaity as Brazil, you know? I'm sorry, I don't mean to say clickbaity. It's just I have such a YouTuber brain now. Everything is about how much color contrast can you add to your thumbnail. I feel like Brazil's the only thing that has true color contrast. That and my dad, obviously that's heavy. You know, I feel like that is a story worth telling because a lot of people experience loss of their a parent or a loved one. It's incredibly relatable. Brazil, that's not really. I mean, it's relatable in the sense that things get crazy no matter what, but the details are like, what is this guy making this up? All right, let's do words on stream. I kind of don't want to go yet. I want to hang out a little more. I just gotta turn this on. Where'd it go? Cool. And I'll participate a little bit. If anything comes up that I remember, I will bring it up again. Also, I really needed to do this exercise because I mentioned this at the beginning of the stream. I don't think anyone was here though. The Dopamine Train podcast. Obi-Wan has been harassing me to talk about Brazil, and I keep putting it off. I'm like, no, it's too scary. So we're going to do that. I can't talk about my life stories on Twitch. I'd get banned. Yeah, it depends. It depends on how you word them. I get what you mean, Panda. You talk about masquerade nights, but well, the thing that I've really had to figure out, Panda, is that because I'm really bad at storytelling, like just naturally, it's a skill I have to work on super hard to get better at it. When I have my 5 bullet points that I just mentioned a second ago, where am I at when the story starts? What did I want at the time? What was preventing me from getting it? What changed as a result of that conflict? And what was the result of that change? You learn this in screenwriting class, but I didn't realize until recently how to apply it to day to day, right? Oh, nice. I've lived like 42 lives. I mean, those are worth sharing, Panda. You'd be surprised. I don't know if you'd necessarily get banned, because next video I upload on the monetized channel, Panda, I'll show you. There is a new setting you get. It's called ad suitability or something like that. And it asks you, you know what I would love to talk about esports at some point. That would be, I just need to figure out what points that are. None of them are crazy as Brazil, but there's some interesting moments there. Anyways, it asks you all of these questions about how appropriate or inappropriate your content is. Does your title contain the F word? Does it contain it asks you if it contains like racial stuff too. So they'll, in a way, they'll kind of let you say, granted, this is specifically for YouTube. I don't know if those rules would apply for Twitch, but they'll let you say a lot. Nice. Zosie in the lead, 22, Glory 14, Panda 12. Yeah. I hear you. I was shocked. I was shocked when it asked, it was talking about, war, tragedy, sensitive events, all these sorts of things. It asks you every time you upload, like, does your video contain any of this? You got to go through and read each thing. And I make sure, like, if I say like damn or hell, it asks you if you say that stuff. Granted, it's not as serious, like, but it wants to know everything that could potentially be a problem for advertisers. Sorry, Chad. I just need to do a 1,000-yard stare for a second. It's so funny. Like, there are lots of channels out there that will give you advice on how to be a streamer and these sorts of things. And one thing that I see comes up quite often is if you really want to challenge yourself, do a just chatting stream where all you do is talk to the camera. Basically, what I did today, just do that. And I've done it before. It's been a long time, but I've done it before. And it's really draining. I didn't realize how draining it is. Something about like playing video games and talking, it's just not that bad because you're kind of half engaged in each thing, especially when it's backrooms because, you don't need to give it like a ton of concentration. What? But when you are just talking, bro, that's low-key hard. Okay, let's do it again. Yeah, mine too, Zozie. Okay, let me actually try here. Oh, hang on, let me change my category. Glory, if you have the YouTube stream pulled up, is it like literally unreadable? I changed it so people could see what was going on, and I'm just looking at it right now and it looks so bad. Wait, did someone already say? Ooh, I knew it. No, but okay. Hang on, I want to full screen it real quick. I want to see how it looks on my end. I guess it's not that bad. It'd probably be better if it was like just smaller, but I kind of wanted to fill the screen. Hmm. Oh, there's not two L's. It said Wait, that is so weird. You did say truffle. You said truffle before me. I somehow got it. Nice clutch, chat. Good stuff. Let me change my category here. Ayers. Buenos Aires. Buenos Aires. Oh. Caruso. Oh. Osiris. No. Corsica. Soar, nice. Oh God. Scar? I know this is a brand. Yeah, it's definitely not going to pop up. Panda, what if instead of telling your stories... oh. What if instead of like just outright telling your stories, we did them in comic strip format or a cartoon? What if Mike animated your stories? Then would it work? Oh, nice try. Nice try. We'll keep running it. We'll keep running it while we play this. I'm going to figure out who to raid. I really want to raid Alex. I don't know if he's live. Look at that. Wow. I'm just like, did kind of well there. Let's check out Twitch. The lighting is actually kind of nice. Ah. We have... Oh, you know what? I can raid green tea. I really need to make the stream manager where the link opens. I think that would be better. Oh. Oh, Panda got it already. I just noticed. Is there a silent K word in here? KN, maybe? Like Nene, but spelled with a K? Bro, I just... Oh my God, I had the K already in there. No. All right. We'll do one more chat and then we're going to raid a streamer. Her name is Green Tea. She is such a sweetheart. Her streams are so cozy. Even if you don't stay to watch, I really love if you say hi, drop by, hang out for a second. She's pretty nice. But, that may not be for another hour because we're just going to dominate this round right here. Okay, let's see. Oh. PS. No. All right. There we go. Nice. Tri-tip. Oh. There we go. There we go. How is Rips not one? Oh. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know any more of these either. Well, at least we made it. Ritz? I was thinking that too. I'm like, where's the Z? Oh, nice. Nice there at the end. Cool. Let's keep it moving. Oh, nice. I don't know if this is a word. It is? What is the long word for this? Oh, yeah, I would not have guessed that one. I can't either, Panda. I'm learning. Oh! Oh, wow, we actually made it. I don't know how to pronounce that, Panda. Yellow ochre is a painting staple. I've never heard that before. Okra. I've heard that. If there was a W in here, we'd just be going crazy. Okra. Oh, it's pronounced like okra. English is so weird. So many exceptions to the rule. Oh, ochre. Oh, nice, Glory. Oh, sweet. The count jumped in. We've got this in the bag now. You've really got me thinking now, Panda. You know, here's the problem. Let me explain my personal mental thing first. Unless like some story is action packed or exciting, unless it's like Helldivers, then I'm like, oh, no one's gonna think it's interesting. Which is not the case at all. I think lots of stories can be interesting depending on how you tell it, right? So that's just something I need to work on. Brazil, it's just naturally interesting, but I think going to New Zealand can be interesting. It can actually be really funny. So, my stories are interesting, just rated M for mature. Yeah, I believe you. But also, certainly there are stories in your life that aren't, I mean, they're not all like rated M, right? Those are probably just the most memorable ones, of course. From your personal experience. Oh, nice, Panda. There are some. Wait, my word didn't type. Oh, it's like lagging behind. Oh, there's only one E. Dang it. My stories are CD for confusing and depressing. You know what I hear when I read that out loud, Glory? Confusing, depressing, relatable. There are so many times, moments in my life that I look back on and I'm like, oh God, if only people knew. And then as soon as I open up a little and I share what's happened, for example, that video that did really well, I'm like, oh, of course. Seems so obvious. Like a lot of people feel like they're crazy when they go through a difficult experience and they're the only one. I think there's real value in that. I'm not like sitting here being like, you guys should all tell your stories. I mean, if you want to, I encourage you to, but, oh crap, I better lock in. We got to get one more word. Oh, let's go count. By the way, Count, since you're here, are you going live today or shortly or anything? Because if you are, I will hold out longer and wait to raid you if that's the case. If not, I have someone we can raid, but just wanted to ask. Real quick recap. Count in first with 22. Panda in second with 21. Glory in third with 8 for that round. And in the general ranking, Glory is sweeping the competition with 59. I am somehow in second place with 55. Panda, oh, just continued. Okay, whatever. Yes. So if you're going live, then I can always raid you. Oh, I see it. Never mind, I don't. The one letter I need is not there. Nice. Not for like 5 or 6 hours though. Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right. I appreciate you looking out for me. Yeah, then I'll raid we'll raid Green Tea. See how she's doing. Unless we're going to be playing words on stream for the next 5 or 6 hours with 0 losses. Ah, someone already said that. Oh my gosh, I got it. Wait, it's telling me that the U is not, it doesn't count? Oh, it doesn't work. Okay. I love this playlist. Shout out to Petty. I miss Petty by Salt. We, back when he and I were both unemployed, we would go hang out, go to the gym. He would live stream and he would have this playlist on his stream. And I'm like, what is this music? And he sent it to me. And I just feel so relaxed when I hear it. Scorn. Is that a Fable reference? The Temple of Scorn with a K. Is the band in here? No. Why aren't my words going on? Well, I can see your chat, but I don't know why. Sometimes I'll type a word and it's just not registering for some reason. You know what you may want to try, Zozie? Maybe close the app and then reopen the stream and see if it fixes it. In a pinch, that's what I imagine might work. Oh. No, there's no H, dang it. There's no P. Trunks. Oh man, how did I miss that? Wait, what? I thought we got it. I heard this. Oh, we were 2 away. 2 away. Oh, whatever. It's okay. It's all good. What the heck? All right. Well, quick shout out to our amazing players today. We had Panda in first, followed by Glory in second, myself in third once again somehow. The Count and Co. with 71. Oh, we were actually tied up with 71. And then Zozie Cat with 49, who in some instances was robbed. I don't know why her words weren't showing up. But I'm going to go ahead and call it there and get ready to do a raid for Green Tea. Again, I don't know Green Tea very well. She's one of Petty's friends, but she's very nice. And I think it would be a nice gesture to go and give her a raid. I want to give you guys a huge thank you for listening to that story today. Again, that was very hard for me to tell because well, you heard it. You know why. There's a lot to it going on. I kind of got tired just telling it. And I missed a lot of stuff too, because it's all for memory, right? One thing I wish I had done was journal it better at the time when it happened so I could get more details in my head. But thankfully, I'm not the only one who went through it. Zozie's dad as well. And we could look at the bottom line of this whole experience was that I got to meet Zozie, which is one of the best things that's ever happened to me in my whole life. So thank you guys for supporting the stream as always, listening to my yapping, for playing Words on Stream with me, and watching me sneak through alien infested planets and try to blow up ships and all that sort of thing. It is a lot of fun. It's the highlight of my week to spend time with you, even if it's late. And another shout out to the Count and Co. for just being an incredible streamer, for having really inspired me to get back into playing Helldivers. So, let me see if I can, dude, I try this every time and I don't know how to do it. We have a shout out command on the stream. Panda knows how to do it. But I do not. In fact, I'm just going to put his link in here. I'm just going to type it out myself. / the I think I spelled all of that right. Yes. So make sure you check them out. Also, let me try exclamation shout. Oh, you did? Oh, I didn't even see it. Thank you. Thank you, Panda. I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you check out his stream if you haven't already. And let me go ahead and start this raid for green tea. As soon as I figure out how to do that. Oh, here it is. Been streaming for 6 years, chat. 6 years, and I still do not know how to use my stream. All right, here we go. Starting raid here soon. Yes, have a refreshing weekend as well, and I will see you guys on Monday. On Monday, be gentle with yourselves and take care. I'll look forward to talking with you all soon.